Tens of thousands of innocent people are facing famine conditions across Ethiopia's Tigray region as fighting and bloodshed ravage the war-torn area. New video shows humanitarian workers delivering life-saving food for more than 1 million people. This comes after months of deadly clashes between ethnic Tigrayan rebels and Ethiopian forces. Many people living in this region have lost their homes, businesses, and crops. One woman says her home was torched and her entire livelihood was destroyed during a recent attack.
عسرة هوني كبيبة ما أفتينا تقانج عن دام شفتو نكلن أو دم كلن بكل حف بلهم يموسي دمنا نعيوني شلهم جزايت قاتلي لا أويله حف بلهم جراوت ما يتأفت وسيدنا.
Heartbreaking. The United Nations addressed the volatile situation this week. Officials condemned ongoing reports of soldiers from all sides of the conflict committing widespread atrocities like sexual violence and executions.
Our humanitarian staff are telling us that in Tigray, incidents of denial of humanitarian movement, interrogation, assault, and detention of humanitarian workers at military checkpoints continues to be reported. Looting and confiscation of humanitarian assets and supplies by the parties to the conflict have also been reported. Several areas in the region remain inaccessible. Of the accessible areas, the situation is dire, including dysfunctional water systems and limited or no health facilities.
For more on this, let's bring in Debora Patta. She's joining us now from Johannesburg. Debora, you already reported on the vaccine distribution and the challenges facing countries on the continent. But for a lot of people, for often millions of people, COVID-19 is not even the #1 thing that they're worried about right now. We're talking about these atrocities that are happening. Take us through the latest developments in Tigray. And we've got these warning signs now, famine. We know that aid groups were reportedly being blocked from reaching certain areas in the region.
In fact, good morning, Vlad. Every time we talk about Tigray, the situation seems to have worsened. And to think really that just over a year ago, this was a completely peaceful area. And as you say, the most pressing concern right now is hunger. As of today, 5.2 million Tigrayans, that's about 85% of the region's population, they need aid to survive, and it's just not reaching them. Food and emergency assistance from the UN and international organizations is, as you say, being obstructed, partly by federal government red tape, but also by Ethiopian and Eritrean soldiers. And the region really is on the brink of famine. Hundreds of thousands are in danger of dying. And it's so bad, in fact, that last week the United Nations warned of a repeat of Ethiopia's devastating 1984 famine, which I'm sure everybody remembers from that period. They've seen terrible images of that. Local residents are saying that their livestock and their crops have been taken by armed men and that they're actually trapped in the area, so they just can't leave to find that humanitarian aid, which just isn't getting through to the places where it's most needed. There are roadblocks that are manned by soldiers. They often demand exorbitant bribes to allow people who are on foot through, or otherwise they just turn the vehicles around.
So, Debora, what exactly sparked this conflict back in November between the Ethiopian government and the Tigrayan, ethnic Tigrayan rebels, and where do things stand now with that conflict?
Well, Anne-Marie, that war, as you said, began last November when government soldiers entered Tigray. Now, Tigray is a semi-autonomous region in Ethiopia. The government soldiers entered claiming that the objective was to arrest the elected regional government and leaders of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, accusing them of rebellion. What happened was that the Tigray leadership then withdrew into the mountain, taking with them thousands of combat-ready troops, refusing to submit to Prime Minister Abiy's centralized policies, which effectively they regard as undermining their constitutionally enshrined autonomy. But the reports on how that conflict has unfolded since then are deeply disturbing. The US has criticized Abiy of ethnic cleansing. There have been reports of dozens of massacres, of the rape of women and children carried out by soldiers who say They are cleansing the bloodline. Civil infrastructure such as hospitals, water facilities, schools, universities, they've all been direct targets of bombings and looting. And partly this is with the aim to destroy capacity to govern. Hospitals are filled with injured, including children, very young children, who've either been deliberately stabbed or caught in the crossfire. And the central government says it is in control of the region, but there's still sporadic fighting around. There are also reports of residents having to actually dig shallow mass graves to bury the bodies because there's so many of them, Anne-Marie.
So looking ahead, Deborah, Ethiopia is set to finally hold elections on June 21st after being delayed. What can you tell us about those elections and how it could impact this conflict?
Now, it's hard to believe, isn't it, Vlad, that in a general election is about to be held in less than 2 weeks. The country's poll was already delayed twice before, but now insecurity and the issues around how fair this election will be really threaten to overshadow that poll. I mean, you've got bloodshed in the Tigray region, instability elsewhere, and furthermore, the candidates that could probably provide Abiy with the most competitive electoral challenge are behind bars. Abiy came to power on a reform agenda, promising to bring about democratic change and to hold those free and fair elections by last year. Those were postponed, as we've said, last year, March, because of COVID. But opposition groups didn't buy this. They said this was just an attempt by Abiy to stay in power for longer. And since then, some opposition leaders have been arrested. So Tigray, as we know, held its own rogue poll, which also contributed to the current crisis. And even if the upcoming election goes ahead, there won't be any voting in Tigray. So with much of Ethiopia's political opposition out of the race, experts fear that all this will do is heighten popular resentment against the government. And things haven't been going well for Abiy since that war began in Tigray. Remember, this is a man who was given the Nobel Peace Prize for making peace with neighboring Eritrea. And there are now calls for that prize to actually be taken away. Vlad?
Wow, Deborah, I don't know if I doubt that has ever happened before. Thanks for letting us know what's happening in the region. Debora Patta, thank you.